as close to the walls as possible, but we can't for a bit. Petersburg fortress was found to protect the land. It was the war with Sweden. First variant was an earthen wood. It was finished in 1740s. For a couple of decades they built it in stone, and they made it very solid. The walls are about 20 meters thick, but they are not solid. There is some space inside. First goes outer wall, and then some room inside, and 2 meters of inner wall. Take us as close to the main gates as possible, and then he will go to the parking lot. And when we are finished, we will go back approximately at the same spot, and the driver will come back. This is the place where we enter. Here, just in case. If you lost something, go to these main gates. But I hope we will be all together. We'll go with you inside the fortress, then we will stop there, and I will tell you about what you can see around. We will walk down to the monument to Peter the Great, have a look at the monument, and then again I will tell you what you see there. Then we come back to the This cathedral is the biggest, 122.5 meters high, the tallest building. We have also a TV tower which is taller, but that is engineering disruption. This is the highest because of the spire. Yes, it is so long. The cathedral, the foundation of the fortress, but it took many years to construct it. It was finished only in 1751. Peter the Great wanted to be buried inside, but Peter the Great died in 1725. So for 6 years his body was unburied, waiting for the was buried inside. And after Peter, other Romanovs, other Tsars were buried in this cathedral. So this is the burial place. You can see a little house there. It is called the boat house. Inside now a replica, but originally the original little boat that was used by Peter the Great when he was a teenager and started sailing. He called that little boat a grandfather of Russian fleet. This building is a mint. You can see all the cars. At the days of Peter the Great, at the days when St. Petersburg was the capital. It was the main mint of the country. Now the main mint is in Moscow, but this one also produces money, metal money, coins, and also medals and orders, so everything made of metal here. Well, we will walk with you around. At that part of the fortress there was a prison, because this fortress was mainly used as a prison. And this is red and white house, the house of the commandant, the head of the fortress, the general. He lived there, and there the prisoners were interrogated. Now let's go around because
들어가지를 못해서.
when he made this monument. Well, by the way, do you see the crowd there? Here, get ready at 12 o'clock of the midday cannon shot. It will be quite loud. Yeah, don't be afraid. St. Petersburg, about St. Petersburg. And then from that, here, you can easily come to the monument and no crowd here. Rated, to my opinion. But the sculptor is sure that it's the exact sizes. Peter was very tall, about 2 meters tall, had narrow shoulders, very big feet and hands. Well, to my opinion, his head is too unproportioned. Too small. Too small, yes. And the sculptor was sure that he became bald by the end of his life. But on no portraits you will never see him bald, yeah, so that's why I have doubts. Maybe the dead mask is spring, yes. One fake shot, no real hands. The fake shot definitely no shows. It was the lifelong position. They lived here. When they died, they could be buried either in their burial vaults of their families or originally the Romans were very individual. This burial vault was added with other members, but after revolution it was looted, it was in very bad condition and inside still not restored. The cathedral is restored inside. All around there were the buildings for the needs of the fortress. This long grey building, it was the artillery house where they kept the guns. Long pink building was the engineering house where the engineers worked and lived. Little yellow building there was the guard house. Yeah, where the guard of the fortress usually stayed. The soldiers of the fortress usually lived in the walls. Here, I told you, in the walls there is the room where they in Kamen's house, far away there is the prison house, where the prisoners were kept before the court, before the trial. And they were only political prisoners. Yeah, not just everybody, but political prisoners. They were kept there, then they were taken by water to the place where they were kept for a long time. Those who violated the rules of the fortress, they were fined on the square. There was a square here. The place down was covered with very sharp spires, and the place for only 1 foot was left. So the person was staying this way, and his foot starts aching soon. Yeah, so he had to change, and he had to jump exactly on the same place because all around there were spires. Yeah, not to wound his foot. And he was staying, so jumping. Yeah, they called it dancing square. Yeah, so yeah, it's quite cruel punishment, but it existed. Well, right, you are welcome to have about 10 minutes on your own, and in 10 minutes, please go to the main gate. Обзорный водный.
Да.
Точки сидеть не пойду.
And no enemies ever came so close to the walls of the fortress, so it was never used as a fortress, but very soon it started to be used as a prison. And one of the first prisoners was the son of Peter the Great, Alexei. The fact was that Peter the Great was married twice. First time he was married when he was a teenager, quite young, to a Russian noble girl. He didn't really love her very much. They didn't have close relationships. They had one. Well, Peter wasn't really faithful to his wife. And finally he met a lady somewhere on this territory who was not of noble origin, just a simple girl. But he fell in love, and he was really madly in love with her. Then he decided to marry her. Well, before I continue the story, let me show you Petersburg. You can see these guns from the Soviet days. and inside they have different guns and artillery from the very old days, well, starting with the 15th, 16th centuries. Originally, it was this construction was called Kronberg, and it was the additional fortification. Some old guns outside, also old cannons. So, continuing this story, Peter decided to marry. He sent his first wife to a nunnery. At the days when the lady became a nun, it was like she was deaf for the whole world, except the nunnery. So he sent her to a nunnery and married the second time to Catherine the First. Well, his son from deeds, he didn't like what he did with his mother, and he didn't like his politics. Well, that's why Alexei took part in the plot against Peter the Great. And when it was found out, Alexei was arrested and put into prison. Here he was interrogated by Tsar himself, and he was sentenced to death. He wasn't executed. He died before the execution. He died in prison. We don't know if it was a natural death or not, but that was the sorrowful story of the first prisoner of this fortress. And after that, the political prisoners were kept in the walls. To your left, you can see a little chapel that we passed. The chapel stands on the site of the former Trinity Cathedral that was blown up by the Soviets in 1933. The Trinity Cathedral gave the name to